Loruna and Fred's Race on the Information Highway. There were a few days left before the annual race took place in the internet where the Information Highway is. Articles about this event have been spread all over the world. Fred the Crow, who was the champion of the Speedway race, looked at the racing event on the newspaper and felt very excited. He might use his own flying car that he invented to participate, and hopefully he'll win again. Meanwhile, Loruna, the laptop with the desk and wheels, looked up the internet article about racing on the information highway as a special event, and there it was. That's where she wanted to go and compete. Hopefully, she will win. But at military school for troubled ants, things were not well for Denflick because when he looked up the newspaper for the upcoming race on the information highway, there was a fine print written on it. The fine print says that Denflick is forbidden to participate in that kind of race because, number one, he and his car are too small to enter just like the Speedway race. Number two, he sneaked into school when he wasn't supposed to and was sent here. Number three, he stole a box of crackers from Julie and Ralph. Number four, he cannot enter any computer system or everyone will think that Denflick, the troublemaking ant, would count as a computer virus. And number five, he cannot escape military school for troubled ants. Any violation of some sort would result on Denflick staying in military school for even longer. This made him very cross. He yelled.
Why can't I ever enter and win any race?
Quiet, Denflick! Snapped the military school leader. You know rules are rules, and no means no. So just deal with it. And as punishment, you won't read any more newspapers. That's for yelling at me. He took Denflick's newspaper, which made him groan. This was certainly not his time. At preschool, Loruna's children, Dave Save and Sally Iskett, who are assistants to their teacher, Miss Stella Bellafella, announced to all the students that the racing event will happen inside the internet in a few days, and Loruna might enter and win it. The children were really excited about the race, but they have never been inside the internet, even though they actually heard of it and wondered what it's like.
Not to worry.
Dave Save replied.
Once we're all together and with one push of the transport button, we will immediately travel to the internet, the indoor mode.
Sally Iskett added. All of the preschoolers understood this with a lot of oohs and ahs. Dave Save and Sally Iskett announced the same thing for the kindergartners as well, all with the same results,
Looks like an internet field trip, isn't it, Julie?
said Ralph.
Yes, it is.
Agreed Julie.
Catholic is unavailable to see the race.
She thought,
He'll never escape military school for troubled ants.
and Julie was right. Escaping from military school for troubled ants is impossible for all ants, especially Denflick. It's just like being in an escape room, which takes hours of puzzles to solve, and when time runs out, he or she is trapped, and escape is impossible.
There's no way out.
Denflick sighed to himself.
When am I ever going to get out of this place? Probably never. That's when.
Are you trying to be a good ant? Asked the military school leader who was passing by and saw Denflick. Denflick nodded. I see, said the military school leader. Are you thinking about escaping? Denflick shook his head. Good, said the military school leader. I'm watching you, so please stay out of trouble. And Denflick did, with the internet racing event halfway into its opening mark. Then, a couple of days later, the internet racing event on the information highway was finally going to happen. Just like before, articles have been spread all over, especially on the internet for all computer devices, including Loruna, who already looked that up.
Yes!
She shouted, feeling very excited.
The big moment I've been waiting for! I'm going to race on the information highway. Oh, I'm going to tell Dave, Safe, and Sally Eskin about this so that they can spread the word to other kids.
And so they did. When Fred the Crow looked at the information highway race, which was happening on today's newspaper, he also felt very excited, so he was getting things prepared before the internet race began. Poor Denflick wasn't happy at all being stuck in military school on the same day as the race on the information highway, where Loruna and Fred would compete in. Not only Denflick was banned from going in there, but he was also banned from reading any more newspapers indefinitely on account that he yelled angrily in front of the military school leader, which made him very cross. Denflick sighed and said to himself,
It's no use. I give up. What's the point? Things are not going right for me. The internet will not allow me in a race anyway.
Denflick himself accepted his defeat. Everyone, including Fred the Crow and Loruna the Laptop, and Miss Stella Bella Fella and her students, excluding Denflick the troublemaking ant, all gathered around for their transportation to the internet. Loruna set the transporting device to Internet, pushed the transport button, and just like magic, they were immediately transported into the Internet where the annual racing event took place on the Information Highway. Miss Stella Bella Fella and her students, as well as Kiri and her mom, took seats in the Internet Auditorium with only a few minutes to go before the race officially began. After that, when all the seats were occupied, or in other words, everyone was sitting down, the race was ready to begin with the following announcement. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and internet fans of all ages, welcome to the annual Information Highway Racing event. But the race is not outside today. Oh, no, sirree. We are actually inside the internet, and that's where the race is. First of all, before we get this race started, I have an important announcement to make. Denflick the Ant is not allowed in this race. He is too small and will count as a computer virus, which will ruin the whole internet. But since Denflick is in military school for troubled ants, all is well thanks to our first racer, Loruna the Laptop. She's got wheels, as you may not know. Our second racer is a champion for the Speedway race. With his flying car that he invented, please welcome Fred the Crow. And that's the last contestant. I don't think there's room on the road for one more. Fred and Loruna, go on ahead to the starting line. Everyone cheered, including Kiri. She called. When Loruna and Fred were at the starting line, the announcer said, Fred and Loruna, this will be a 2-mile, 3-lap loop race on the information highway. Drive and fly your best. And when you're on the final lap, take the exit that leads to the finish line. But watch out for any upcoming obstacles and those computer viruses. First one to the finish line is the winner. Okay? Everyone ready? 1, 0, 1. Wait! I'm sorry, he guffawed. I said zero. Those are two binary code numbers. What I meant to say was three, two, one, go! And off went Fred and Loruna on the road. In the first stretch, Fred's car was in the lead, while Loruna was trying her best to catch up and take the lead. During the race, Fred and Loruna noticed two ramps with two signs. One ramp sign said fly, and the other sign said keep driving. Loruna cannot fly because she doesn't have wings. So she took the keep driving ramp. As for Fred's car, it had wings, so he took the flying ramp and away he flew, right on course. Loruna was surprised to see Fred flying up above her.
If computer devices like me have wings to fly,
She thought.
then I can fly with Fred, whether it's a race or not.
She still focused on the race. Fred was flying his car really well. He flew over the bridge without crashing into it, which is not the same thing as a computer crash. As for Loruna, she went under the bridge just like what real life vehicles would do when they're on the highway, without any zeros and ones on the road. Just like Fred, Loruna did not crash. Then there was trouble. Some parts of the internet road are closed due to a technical problem or problems, like a glitch when some zeros and ones are missing, or someone accidentally infected the lane. Loruna noticed all the detour signs, and so did Fred. Loruna switched to a different lane that's open, while Fred flew over the construction zone. He was still in the lead. There were other detours throughout the race, but at last, after 2 miles, they completed the first lap. Earlier, they saw the exit sign, but they didn't take the exit to the finish line yet because it was only the beginning of the race. When it was the final lap, Loruna and Fred took the exit to the finish line for the final stretch. It was neck and neck between Fred and Loruna. Who is going to win this information highway race and take home the racing cup? Fred the Crow wins! Cried the announcer. That makes him a two-time winner! His flying techniques were superb. He looked around with his eyes and there were no internet viruses. Man, that was really something! Congratulations, Fred! Yes, Fred has won another race. Everyone, including his family, were really proud of him, and they celebrated. The amazing moment was all over the news. As for Loruna, she did not win, but she gave Fred some support and congratulated him. Loruna's children, Dave Save and Sally Iskett, were proud of their mom for completing the race without crashing. That made her smile. Maybe next time, when there are other races, she might win for the first time.